Welcome back to the Weekly Rumble. On today's episode, I'm going to tell you why Heartstopper is the best teen show there is. And I will also have to try and speak slower. I have gotten some feedback that I speak too fast, and my normal pace of speech is fast because I do not like to waste people's time, and I also don't like people to waste my time. So here's a list of 5 reasons on why Heartstopper, the TV show, and I guess the graphic novels as well, is the best teen media there is. Reason number 1. Heartstopper is a story about teenagers going through teenage things. And surprisingly enough, we have been blessed by an actual teenage cast. I know, it's actually jarring to see actual, literal teenagers portraying their actual age, because if it was Hollywood, these kids would portray 12-year-olds. You might be asking, why is it essential for teenage characters to be portrayed by a teenage cast? I'm gonna tell you, okay? I know why. I know the answers. Stay here for the answers. The reason why is that it's so much easier to empathize with a character when they look and act their age, specifically when it comes to teenagers, because how much empathy can you have for 30-year-old Archie? He's been through everything, he knows the highs and lows of American football. Any mistake he does, you're like, come on, Archie. Come on, Archie, you're 30 years old. In this show, everyone is playing their age, and you can see also tiny kids around because in English schools there's a big overlap with ages in the same building. So you can see sometimes like tiny little humans going around interacting with our main characters, and it's honestly really endearing. Reason number 2. When you cast actual children, you have to kind of respect them because they're kids and not be creepy, which is so refreshing if you consider how Hollywood has been treating teenagers. Have you seen Euphoria? Have you seen Riverdale? Actually, have you seen it? Because I haven't. They over-sexualize them. They make them do very age-inappropriate acts. It's just ridiculous the lengths in which people are willing to go to just fantasize about underage kids. And I keep saying that they're kids because they are. Like, isn't it such a wild concept to consider somebody who is still a teenager or a child? But tell me honestly, look at an actual 16-year-old. Isn't that a baby? Isn't that a little toddler? Don't you just wanna go and buy them candy in a non-creepy way? Like in a way of like they're actually your sibling and you're buying them sweets because they want sweets because they're still children? When you cast an adult to play a teenager and then you hypersexualize the teenager, you're basically giving a pass to all the to think that it is okay to actually fantasize about said character because the actor is an adult. Yeah, but the character they're portraying is a child. It's very dangerous and very immoral, okay? Stop doing that. It's sick. Number 3, realistic expectations. This TV show is really romanticizing the reality of being a gay boy in high school. It is also quite realistic in its portrayal. You can see that Charlie, the protagonist, had to go through quite a lot when he first came out, when he was like 13. However, you see that at the age of 14, he's already better, and that now it's mostly like teasing. It still qualifies as bullying, of course, but you can tell that it's not as horrific as you would expect based on how high schools are portrayed in Hollywood. It's quite reassuring and hopeful to expect to not have a horrible few years in high school. And it's good to see teenage characters make mistakes that make sense for their age because they're not emotionally mature yet and they don't know how to regulate their emotions and their emotional reactions. And it's actually good to see them self-reflect and grow from it, because usually the conflicts that happen in teen dramas are only relationship based and like I mean romantic relationship based, and you don't actually see the characters learn any lessons and like evolve personally and like remain in that new state, because usually growth in Hollywood isn't progressive. It just you grow for one episode and then you make the same mistake in the next one. But I'm having the feeling that in this TV show you see characters grow and just keep growing emotionally and mentally, and I feel like that's really important to portray because people keep forgetting that you're supposed to never stop growing emotionally and mentally. It's really good to try to improve yourself, improve the way that you react in certain situations, and in general the way that you carry yourself around in life. It's good to always try to improve and learn things from every situation. Number 4, the representation. This show is a safe space for almost everyone. I feel like a lot of kids will see themselves for the first time portrayed in a positive light, in a way that it feels like their problems are real and that they're not alone. From what I've heard already, there's so many people who wish they had this TV show growing up. Usually in media, there is this term that's called bury your gays, which means the character is allowed to be gay only if they die at the end, as like a punishment. It's so rare to see gay characters just happily living their lives and having personalities and whole lives, but don't go around the fact that they have this specific sexuality. Its character isn't included to prove a point. People like that exist, and they're not a token character. They don't come in to serve a plot point or help you grow as a person and make you less transphobic. These characters are humans. Like, sometimes we forget that people are humans, the same way that some men forget that women are humans, and the only way they can empathize with them is if they compare them to somebody that they know that is important to them, like their mother or their sister or their daughter. You know how they say, oh, one day you're gonna have a daughter and you're gonna learn to respect me. Like, no, I am still important even if I don't have any relation to you, and even if I don't serve you in any sort of way, I'm still a human. And what I liked about it as well is that they cast local teenagers and they all have their own little dialect. The way that English people are portrayed in media, especially by Americans, is very funny to me because I've been in England for 6 years and I'm yet to meet one person that sounds the way Hollywood thinks English people sound. And if you want to get like a very realistic portrayal of how actual normal English people are, just watch the English version of The Office. I know it's the original. I hate it. It's too realistic and it makes me nauseous. Number 5. I've already touched upon this a bit, but I think it's a very hopeful TV show. Because of its representation, it's going to give so much hope to so many children around the world, specifically kids that are in privileged countries like England, where homophobia is not that much of a thing. I know England is a very racist and homophobic country. However, I can see it improving little by little, and this is a step to the right direction for sure. The cast is very diverse and they're all portrayed in a very human way. You don't see any stereotypes being perpetuated, you just see kids be kids, and it's just really sweet. This is the list, okay? This is it. That's why Heartstopper is the best TV show for teenagers, because it portrays them authentically, it gives them a hopeful message, it shows them grow and evolve as humans, and it's overall extremely enjoyable to watch. This is such a happy and adorable TV show. The romance is incredible, it gives you hope for your love life in general. Like, I am watching it and I'm like, that's not how I remembered it. It just warms your heart to see two people love each other unconditionally and care for each other deeply. The costumes are amazing. There's some very stellar casting as well. The kid that plays Nick, he's quite good. Keep an eye on him. But all the kids were actually great. There was not a bad performance in the show. This queen made a cameo and I was like shocked to my core to see her there. Even the author made a cameo and that was adorable. And one of her books was held by one of the characters. It was just such a nice and thoughtful production. You could tell that they cared about the characters, they cared about the story, and they weren't being lazy about it. They even cared about the craft. Wow, what a concept to actually care about the thing that you're producing. And so far in the TV show, we have adapted the first 2 novels, and I am assuming that the second season is going to be the 2 more, and then maybe the third season is going to be the novella that I didn't buy because I didn't actually like. I didn't like the novella. I don't like to see couples that I love have conflict. I just want them to forever live happily ever after or never argue about anything, okay? And for the upcoming season, you should expect a massive change of tone. So it's going to be even more beneficial for teenagers to see how they can actually solve their mental problems, because therapy is not really advertised almost at all in teen shows. And I feel like everyone should be in therapy, specifically people who are going through so much change in life. I know that they're going to handle these issues very sensitively and with a lot of care. That's all I have to say.